I now want to spend some time talking about Viva Insights. So a few things to understand here with Microsoft and Viva. Again, with Microsoft Viva, Microsoft is really pushing the concept of collaboration with your team, with your employees, and making them feel comfortable in their work environment, whether they are working from home or in the office. This is especially beneficial for the people that are working from home that don't have that, as I like to say, water cooler communication where they can just run into somebody in the office and chit chat with them and get to know them a little bit better, maybe go to lunch with them. You have that going on in offices, but you don't necessarily have that going on when you have telecommuters going in your environment. What we do have is Microsoft Teams. We have email, we have Teams. And the goal with Viva is to utilize a bunch of different apps that can make users have that collaboration experience of camaraderie and all of that. All right. Now, Viva Insights is a specific app for Viva that basically collects analytic data from all the other Viva apps and from the actual Microsoft 365 experience. And it's going to help your management and administrators get a feel for how your users are utilizing the Viva environment and also the Microsoft 365 environment in general, how often they're using apps, how much they're communicating, and all that. But there's a few things to keep in mind here. First off, I want to take a look at a quick document that kind of outlines the key fundamental principles that you get out of Viva Insights. If you were to do a Google or Bing search on Viva Insights, you'll come across these two articles right here. I want to start with this one here. It says Introduction to Viva Insight. That's going to bring you right here, Introducing Viva Insights. And they talk about, this concept of bringing together with communications, knowledge, learning, resources. The core of Viva Insights is to gather analytic data, all right? And gather this analytic data from all the various Microsoft 365 services and also the Viva apps themselves. All right. The great thing about this is this can provide personal insights for your actual users themselves, but then also management. Management can gather insights into their employees and how what they're doing and how much time they communicate on Teams and in meetings and dealing with emails. So you can see here, some of the main elements you get, personalized recommendations from the Teams app to help you build better work habits, get a feel for how long you spend on certain things. You have an Outlook add-on as well that works with Microsoft Outlook that helps with task management, briefing emails. Basically, what that's going to do is, show you reminders for your calendar and all of that. They tell you it's about every 2 hours, within 2 hours of your work day, you'll get that. You have digest emails that highlights your work patterns. All right. And then inline suggestions. This is all AI driven to help you with reading and composing emails and all of that. Another thing, though, that's very important is that the data privacy of all of this, Viva Insights and pretty much all the Viva apps themselves, the goal is not to allow management to spy on the employee. The goal is to gather analytic data. All right. So it's not designed to for things like employee evaluation, tracking, automated decision making, all of that. That's not what it's built for. All right. Doesn't give employees any kind of access to PII, personally identifiable information, on any of their coworkers. All right. And then the other thing about this is the data that Viva Insights collects is going to be stored within the Exchange Online mailbox. So it's all linked to Exchange Online, essentially. The other thing is it does support the General Data Protection Regulation. That is, if you're not familiar with the GDPR, what that governs is making sure that data that's collected somewhere stays wherever it's collected. For example, if data is collected in the United States, on somebody in the United States, it's kept within the United States and it's not shared outside the United States. Same for the UK. Pretty much any of the countries that are part of the European Union are going to tie to this General Data Protection Regulation. Okay. All right. The other thing is that Viva Insights is set up in a way that users can opt in and opt out of certain pieces of information. All right, so that's another big thing that this is part of. So you've also got advanced insights. Now this again is geared more towards your management to gather data related to their employees and staff in groups, not individuals. So you can't really gather specific details on any individual person, but it's more geared towards gathering as a group, and getting a feel for if you had a project going on and you were the project manager and you needed to get a feel for how's this project going, who's working on what, how frequently is my group in teams and communicating and emailing back and forth and all of that. All right. Again, data privacy being a big part of this. Now, the other thing I want to mention is there is licensing requirements for this. If we go back and do our Google search again, Google or Bing search Viva Insights, you'll see this little link here, Improve Productivity with Microsoft Viva Insights. If we click that, you can see that they basically talk to you about, tell you a little bit about it, and then they tell you, what you're going to get with this, or what plans will give you this. So with Microsoft Viva Insights in Microsoft 365, so you do have Viva Insights included with a Microsoft 365 plan. Now, if you just got an Office 365 plan, the enterprise plans will support Viva Insights as well. All right, and so you can actually click this link and you can see more details on that, on what's included. All right, so here's the enterprise plans that they are talking about. But you can also get Viva Insights specifically. The bare minimum, you can get it for $4 a month per user, and then $12 a month per user for the entire Viva suite. So you want all the Viva apps, you go with that. Now, if I actually jump over to portal.microsoft.com, I can click on the marketplace here, and then I can go to all products and just do a search. We'll just search for Viva Insights, hit enter, and you can see what plans will come with this. So you can see these right here, and you can see some of the other versions of Viva, some of the other apps with Viva. Here's the Viva suite right here that's going to give you insights, and then if you just want Viva Insights by itself, you can see that right down here. So we can add that license if we want. All right. Now, when I want to work with Viva, I can go right here as an admin. I can do a search for just Viva, and you'll see Microsoft Viva right there. If I click on that, see these apps, and then I've got Viva Insights right here. All right. And so from there, I can manage the settings for Viva Insights. I can also manage availability in the Teams Admin Center if I want as well. All right, so we can click on this. Right now it says Microsoft Viva Insights boost your organization's productivity. Which Viva elements should users have access to? So this is where I would turn this on or off. And this is one of the big things I want you to remember in this lesson, is that this is where I can turn certain things on and off involving Viva Insights. So portal.microsoft.com, I do a search for Viva, I can go to Viva Insights, and I can turn this stuff off. So Viva Insights for the web experience, digest email, Insights Outlook, add-in, scheduled suggestions, all of that, I can turn those on or off if I want. And then I can, all I got to do is click Save to do that. Now let's jump over and look at the behind the scenes for the Teams Admin Center. So if we drop down the little Show All, we can go right here to Teams. That'll bring us into the Teams Admin Center. All right. So once that gets loaded up, we'll just go right up here to the little search bar, and we're just going to do a quick search for Viva. All right. So just kind of waiting on that to show up. Here we go. Search for Viva, and you'll see you have, we'll hit enter, and we should see Viva Insights. There it is right there. So Viva Insights, if we click on that, I can enable or disable this if I want. So currently this is enabled, as you can see, but if I wanted to turn that off, I could turn that off if I wanted to, but I am going to leave that turned on. All right. And so that's how you can turn this on or off in the Admin Center for Teams. We've also got permissions here, which are essentially what the app is going to need permission from the user on. Receive messages and data that I provide to it, access my profile information, so the user will can be prompted for giving those rights. So then I go over to settings, and you can see there is no settings. This is basically just an on or off button. Now eventually they might add some settings, but as of right now there is none. So that's what we have from an admin perspective involving Teams. Let's jump over to the Teams app and look at this from a user perspective. So if we go over to Microsoft365.com, and we're just going to click Teams over here, that's going to bring us into the Teams app. Now, granted, you could download and install the Teams app locally on your computer, but I'm going to go ahead and just bring it up right here in the web portal. Now, keep in mind, when you come in here, you may not see the exact same teams as I have. So like I have various teams here, you can ignore that. What I am going to do is I'm going to go right here to where it says apps. All right. And we will just do a quick search for Viva. And then we should see Viva Insights. There it is right there. We can open that up. And you'll notice it shows up right here. We can pin that if we want, and it'll stay there now. So from there, you'll notice we have a little home dashboard, just gives you some information. It's kind of general because right now I haven't really used Teams a whole lot, so it hadn't really learned a whole lot about me, but it will, and then it'll produce things that might involve me. And so here I've got send praise to colleagues, so that's something we could do. Disconnect with quiet time. You got set virtual commute reminders. You got to focus, so bring out the inner focus within you through a quick mindfulness exercise. Take a breather break. Here's some stuff you can click on, geared towards various situations for employees and workplaces. So you can look at well-being. You got stuff specifically for well-being, productivity. I don't have anything scheduled, so doesn't have anything as far as meetings or any of that. But obviously, if I did have meetings and all that, it would show up, right? Meeting details, teamwork, so time spent collaborating with others. So here's some of the stats that you get. Again, your admin team, your management team can also get access to this stuff as well, and see what the teamwork and collaboration is between project members and all that. Although again, it doesn't let them look at specific users. So all in all, hopefully you can see Viva Insights, the goal of Viva Insights is, which is to provide analytic data, provide recommendations, things like that for your employees specifically, but also it's very much geared towards allowing your management staff to gather this analytic data as well. All right, pretty easy to use, definitely something you can jump right in and try out if you want.